Something that's a little bit interesting about the Moana remake is that now we actually have two versions of Maui. One of them is this expressive, emotionally connected version. The other is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. But I'm not too interested in answering the question which version is better. I think my opinion on that is, okay, what is that? Why? For a second, I thought that dude was Maui, and I just short-circuited there. Listen, we could talk for hours about why the Dwayne "The Rock" version of Maui is terrible, or we could settle this like real men over the chessboard. So here we got a matchup. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson over here has the white pieces, and Maui, the original, has the black pieces. Now, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson opens with the kin spawn opening. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, of course, fits way too tightly in that bodysuit, so he's hoping to immediately get space in the center so that he has more wiggle room than he usually does. The kin spawn opening is so good because it does a couple things at the same time. First of all, it opens up both the lines of the bishop and the queen at the same time. Second of all, by pushing our e-pawn, we are more quickly preparing kinside castles because these pieces can develop to very natural squares. And we're taking equity in the center, which are these 4 squares over here. Very often, if you want to transfer pieces somewhere, it has to go through the middle. Maui, the OG, of course, responds with pawn to e5, which is just the best response. I mean, we should not forget these are essentially the same 2 people. So the fact that they open with the same move should not be surprising at all. Knight to f3 is played, and here OG Maui. You would expect normally to get knight to c6, then the game goes on, right? And this is boring. And you know Maui, he is anything but boring. This is expressive Maui. This isn't Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in a bodysuit. This one has soul. This one has bravado. He doesn't play knight c6, he plays d6. Now you might be thinking, nah, that's like the boring. Wait for it. D4. Just normal response, right? If your opponent allows you to put 2 pawns in the center, do it. The normal reply, and I am of course very normal, would be taken, which gives white an advantage because now white has more space in the center. This central pawn is further advanced than this one, and this bishop is blocked in by its own pawns. So here white would just have an advantage very clearly. But what Maui does, Maui here plays f5, which is dead lost. Like, if you look at the computer, you're dead lost. Like, don't try this at home. But funny thing, this opening is actually called the Philidor defense. Philidor is one of these old, like, best chess players in the world before we had the World Championships. And through him and through his games, we learned so much about chess. But he didn't play it in the way we would do nowadays. Some would say he was not very normal. That being the capture over here, he used to play it with f5. This is how the Philidor was actually meant to be played according to the creator. And it's dead lost. Like, this is not good. But Maui is hoping to make the game complicated so that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who as we all know is a little bit empty in the head. Not that I would tell him this in real life. I mean, look at him, he would pound me to dust. But he's hoping to make the game complicated. Shockingly here, by the way, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson did not go for the easy pawn grabbing line, which is crazy to me because his entire existence is essentially just a money grab by Disney, so I don't know why he didn't go for it here. It is maybe a little bit more complicated. I like moves like pawn e4 here, and even in this variation you maybe don't have to take back, but it is just a pawn gambit, and given that our Disney overlords essentially grab any dollar they're handed, I don't know why he didn't go for it here. Now here you have a couple moves. d5 is by far the most ambitious. Black is just trying to get the full center, and he wants it all. Maui's position isn't good enough to allow him to grab it all. But he is Maui. He's a demigod. He doesn't care. Also, he wants to grab it all. Get it? Because I said crab. Okay, I'll stop now. Now here though, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson played knight to g3, which is wrong. When you have a lead in development, right? White has 2 pieces out, black has 0. You want to look to play in an aggressive way. With that, you should look at forward moves. The move knight to g5 can actually be played. It looks stupid. It looks completely idiotic. You might be asking why. It looks dumb because these knights can be attacked. So first of all, there's the move pawn e4 and there's the move pawn h6. Let's first look at h6 because it's the easiest one. To make it very clear, if here you're just forced to go backwards, we have accomplished nothing. Here we have a very interesting move. And if you want to find it, you can pause the video and let me know in the comments what your solution is. I know you won't do that though, because I know that you're a coward. Yes, that's right. I called you a coward. What you gonna do? You're gonna cry. Red Panda called me a coward. I know, you think, if I'm not 100% confident, I just won't comment. Coward. What, a little bit of the slightest public humiliation and you cower in fear? You are such a chicken. But not like this one, which is cute and kind of fun to look at. No, I mean like this one, which is horrifying and incredibly uncanny. What were they thinking? Here the move is knight to f7. And you can play this. You can play it. It is not supported, but you can still play it anyway. This is a fork, so you have to address this. Now, here after king takes, what is the follow-up? Because you can't just fight your way to a successful attack. You need to find the correct follow-up. Knight takes e5 with check. King goes back. What is happening here? We've just given up a knight for nothing. Remember when h6 was played? That move did something. g6 isn't possible. So now the check just completely works. And the computer finds mate in 14. If nothing else, you should have the feeling that this attack is strong, right? Okay, so h6 doesn't work. How about e4? Okay, this one's potentially more interesting. So the knight is kicked, so we want to put it in the center. Again, center, very important. So we need to defend this square over here. We can do so with knight h6. Here, white has a beautiful move. Again, if you're a higher rated player, you can turn this into an exercise why to play. But I'm just going to show it. Here, white has the move knight takes e4, and this is important. You might be looking at this and you're thinking to yourself, Red Panda, why does this check not work? Because if g6, I can sack my knight. No. No, you cannot. Here you don't have to take. And in chess, when we calculate, we need to prove ourselves wrong. Here you can play bishop g4, and the queen has to move away. Now we can take the knight. So that whole idea doesn't work. So the problem with this position is that this knight is too strong of a defender, and this pawn can currently always block out this check. So the point of knight takes e4 is, after this, to allow bishop takes. And you can't take back because now this check works. And again, this attack is just too strong. It's just too strong. It's beautiful. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson didn't go for this. He probably just completely misevaluated. You had to go knight g5 here, and he played knight to g3, which is timid and boring. Unlike the real Maui, was powerful, sexy, and honestly, the more I look at him, kinda cute. Oh my. Here, of course, we play e4, knight e5. Now, there's some threat of this check, so knight f6 just blocks that out. Here we have bishop g5. We don't break the pin, instead we play bishop d6. And white played knight h5, which is super ambitious, but strange. So in the opening, generally we give the advice, move all your pieces once. And here, just continuing development is so much better than breaking that principle. But it doesn't look stupid, because we are pinning the knight, so putting pressure on the pinned piece is of course very useful. Now black here plays the most sensible move, short castles. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson goes queen to d2. He really wants to prove that he's a big, masculine man, even though he's kind of just a stupid looking idiot. So he prepares long castles. Black decides to address this pin by playing queen to e8, getting out of it. And white plays g4, which is a very weird move. And as you can see, the engine absolutely hates it. Now you might be thinking, why didn't Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson take over here? So first of all, let's look at knight takes. Here we take back with the pawn. This is just simply a fork. You can attack the rook, but after I take, and bishop takes over here, you have a check, but I can just always block. You don't have an attack, and you've given me 2 pieces for the rook. Okay, so how about bishop takes? Well, if bishop takes, I take back. Now these 2 pieces are henning. That's a problem. Now you might be looking at this and thinking, but Red Panda, I have queen h6. Oh, that's interesting, because now I threaten mate. I can't take the knight. This is just checkmate. Okay, so what do we do now? Here's what I can do. I can play queen e7. Just defending the checkmate in square. We are not attacking this knight anymore. But here's the thing. This knight is not just attacked, it's trapped. It's completely trapped. The bishop takes care of its last retreat square over here. We would just take. So yeah, neither way of taking this knight really works. And so white plays g4, which is just kind of a desperate attempt of doing something. Which is honestly how you could recapture most, if not all, of Disney's live action remakes. Quickly, Walt, the stakeholders, they're losing interest in your company. Pump out 15 more Moana movies quickly now, Walt, quickly. But like with most desperate attempts to make something happen, it just doesn't work. Like, not at all. Here knight takes knight was played, just queen takes. This knight has to move again. And what have we accomplished by giving this pawn up? I guess we've opened a line, but I mean, come on. Okay, knight c6 here was played. Taken here, by the way, not a good idea. People always say like, but Red Panda, I doubled their pawns and I isolate this pawn over here. That must be good. No, you idiots, because what has happened? By letting black take here, which cost them no time, this was essentially a free move because it was just a recapture. They have strengthened their central position. Now if I play a move like c4, I'm not threatening anything all of a sudden. Also, we've opened this line. You're not gonna castle on the king side. You're also not gonna stay in the center. But now if you manage to go queen side, which by the way is freaking impossible right now, there's already an open line and a ready-made attack. So that would be complete nonsense. But after bishop e2 and I move my queen to h3, guess what? You are forced to do this anyway. Because currently we cannot cast our king out of the way because this pawn would just be hanging. If we defend it over here now, I can just take over here. I sadly can't take this because of queen check. I don't have to. I can just defend it. And let's say after a move like long castles, I mean, now I can take. Probably nothing wrong with that. The engine here really likes to move bishop g4, which after takes, we sack this point of material because what's the point? Now rook d8. Ah, right. What the computer here wants to do, it wants to kind of keep the king in the center. And we don't care that we're losing this pawn because guess what? We're also opening lines. Wow, the computer is so good at chess. Oh, I love that. Why win the pawn when you can just kill your opponent? Man, chess is such a fun game. You know, AI in chess is great, but like next time Disney, keep it out of your movies. Now for the record, I have not done any research on this, but this to me looks AI generated. And I don't know about you guys. Instead of going into those kinds of lines, white it just took. We took back bishop e3. We want to defend this pawn and prepare castles. Rook b8. Just a simple improvement moves. Anticipating castles. What Maui played over here wasn't the best, but it had bravado. It is that spark, that soul that Disney has just been missing. The amazing move. Rook takes f2. And you might be thinking, what? Red Panda, what is going on? What is that even? My first thought when I saw this was, okay, maybe there's like pawn e3, but that does nothing. I can just take that. Then my second thought was, maybe we're clearing something on this diagonal. I can't play this to prepare bishop f4. Bishop f4 immediately does nothing. I can just take. So what is going on? You want to know what the point of rook f2 is? Queen a3. It's ridiculous. You can't take this because this is mate. This is just checkmate. I've been disrespecting Mr. Johnson over here throughout the video, but to his credit, his defense is as hard as say, well, if I could only think of a pawn right now, I would say it. As hard as a tree. You get it? Because chess pieces are made of wood. So, pawn c3. Best defense in the position. Queen a2. Pawn b4. Only defense, by the way. Stopping rook b2. For some stupid reason, Dwayne The Rock Johnson thought, I can play for more here. Certainly, the live-action Moana wouldn't flop, he thought to himself. I mean, Moana 2 was such a fantastic box office hit. I can play King b2, and this was the losing mistake. Our OG Maui finally got his win. Bishop b4. And that's it. That's game over. You essentially have to accept this. And now rook takes. Now, if you try doing anything, you just get checkmated. So you need to give up the queen. And here it doesn't end because pawn e3. Second material, but we're bringing in this piece. Look at this king. It can't go anywhere. It can go here, but that's just mate. Right? And the game ended. Dwayne The Rock Johnson resigns. So, who was the eventual winner? Of course, OG Maui. Are you kidding me? Why would it not ever be him?